Hey, it's White Boy Chris. If the Pat Downs ever made you laugh, then join our Patreon and support us. Get bonus content, a t-shirt, or an autographed copy of Rabbit, Miss Pat's autobiography. Visit MissPatComedy.com for the link to the Patreon, and while you're there, join our Facebook group.
Welcome to another episode of the Pat Down. I'm here with Chris and Dion, and we talking about some serious shit. Some serious shit. Policing in America. Don't turn it off. Listen, you need to hear this bullshit. If you turn it off, you a bitch ass nigga.
With your bitch ass.
After
Could be the
music.
pussy.
You better get up, get out, and tune into this podcast. This Pat spit the truth, spit the real fact. Nothing but the ugly, classy at the same time. Pat got the flavor, these are not your same lines. That's the politics, she been on the real grind. It could be pretty but ugly at the same time. Just tune in, put your lock on the spin down. Ain't no need for the wait and turn it up now. What you talking about? Is it real though? And cut the game, you get no play like Nintendo. You wasted time, turn it up, nothing but the ugly. Straight off the top, everything she say, you know it's funny. Full blast, this a taste of the future. Listen on your iPhone, on your desktop computer. Share it, tweet it, ain't no way to beat it. Nothing but the ugly, turn it up and gon' repeat it. Nothing but the ugly.
What the fuck is wrong with the police in this country?
How much time you got?
You know what? I don't have nothing. I don't have any. When I was coming up, the police is not the same police. I've said this 100 times. But I've watched a couple videos today where the police literally let dogs bite people like they did black people back in the day. They literally had this black man in his yard, told him to get down, and the man told the dog to bite the black. I just seen him do the same thing to a Mexican guy. If you hate a certain group of people that much, why take a public job? I guess you take it so you can kill them because you hate them so much. But do you think there's no consequence that's going to come to you as a police officer? Have this this country have gotten today where police is almost untouchable?
That's what qualified immunity is.
Qualified immunity is basically like the person individually suffers no consequences, like Breonna Taylor. The family got $12 million. The only people that have faced any consequences for the death of Breonna Taylor are the taxpayers.
But you know, that's why I would think that the people in that state would want the police to go to jail. I would want you to lock that motherfucker up before you keep raising my taxes for y'all mistakes.
Nope, because that's when you hear people say, well, if they just cooperate. And it's like she didn't even have the option to cooperate because she was asleep and they fucking killed her. And now you have to pay because instead of checking the police, you're more worried about Breonna Taylor's history. That's the problem. That's the problem that we face. Is shit happens, and instead of dealing with the reason why it happens, we make all these excuses and just spend money. Oh, just give them some money, they'll be quiet.
You know, that's the realest thing that's in my... I cannot wait for y'all to see my sitcom. That is the realest shit. When that was breaking news that she got multi-million, I said, oh, finally, they're going to pay double digit for a black death. And I looked down, it was $12 million. Don't nobody want no...
That ain't tax-free, though.
It ain't tax...
So it's not going to be $12 million.
Well, I don't give a fuck. I'd rather have my child. I'd rather have my fucking loved one. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I'm all for the police. The police is citizen. They get out. We pay the police. But they run around here and they commit more crimes than motherfucker we do.
I think people get the police and the police officers confused. Like the job versus the person. I think that's what people aren't understanding is that the person that does the job poorly makes all the police officers look bad. Yep. What doesn't happen is when a cop does do something poorly, none of the other quote unquote good cops do anything. They don't speak out, and when they do, they get fired or harassed. And it's made so that if you are a good police officer and you do call out bullshit, you find yourself alone in a hurry.
There was a guy, I forget his name, Daniel something, but he posted on Instagram a rant basically saying we need to do better and do this right. He got fired within like 2 weeks. But if he had shot somebody, he wouldn't have gotten fired.
They would back him up.
Yeah,
they would find the reason why it was justified.
So if you find good officer who's calling out bad officer, how do you expect the citizen, us, to respect you? Because right now it seems like the police department only want white people to respect to back the blue. And then you know that back the blue shit is so full of shit, and a lot of people gonna cut off this podcast and I don't give a fuck. But when you say back the blue, but you say the American flag means so much to you, but you take it and change the motherfucking color to black and blue. How can you love the flag so much when you change the motherfucking color? That blue and black flag that I see that y'all walking around here, that's not what my husband fought for. He did not fight for that fucking flag. That flag does not represent the United States of America. You're talking about the
thin blue line?
The thin blue line one. Yeah. No, I'm talking about the one is black and blue now that I see it on everybody's shirts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you say you love this country. You say you love this country. You love the flag. Niggas can't kneel because if we kneel, that's disrespecting the flag. But you take the whole motherfucking flag and you turn it black and blue. What kind of bullshit is that?
I think it's like a way to show that you love power and power over other people that you don't like. Like that's sort of how I interpret it because I don't personally get it. Like. Like if you're a police officer, I've had because of all the of my mouthiness on cops and stuff. I've had a lot of friends who, especially like high school friends who are cops, reach out to me and say, "Hey, like I've listened to the Pat Down, I've listened to your other podcasts. Like you have to understand, like from our perspective, and I've had the opportunity to talk to them and go, like when you're in these situations." Then this happens or this happens. And I think that you kind of just touched on that. Like if you're an individual cop. In a lot of these situations, it's difficult for them, and then like the world is shitting on them, and so they're just quitting in mass numbers because they don't want to do the job. Like,
well, they don't. It's not because people want them held responsible. Because let me say this to you. If I'm doing a job and if I'm doing it right, I don't give a fuck about everybody else quit. When people get to running, it's for a reason. Either the job ain't right, the corporation ain't right, you done got caught up in some bullshit. Yeah. But if you at work and you doing what you supposed to do, you ain't gonna be dropping off. You doing it, you running because you don't want to get caught up with the bullshit you know you've been doing that's now gonna get highlighted. Because you know why? You got white kids out here that saying, stop the bullshit. We just want to fucking live.
Yeah,
we literally want to fucking live, and they calling you out. They're actually trying to start locking you motherfuckers up. Indiana have something here where they doing something with the police. I just read something briefly yesterday, some type of training.
I haven't seen it.
Me either.
It was on Fox 59. I scroll back and see if I can find it.
You literally live around the corner from where all the cops in the state are trained. I know. Like that's why you see cop cars around here all the time.
You know, and I really don't. It's like why can't a police pull somebody over and treat them like a human being? Whether you black, white, green, red, and I understand the police officer want to go home like everybody else, but for you, let's say some incidents. For you to literally let a dog go on an unarmed person whose hands is in the air, who's on their knees, who's turning around, and you still let the dog go, you are a racist piece of shit. Yeah. Because what you want somebody to do that to you, I keep telling people the reason when you're a racist or you hate a group of people, it's because you know that you'll never be in that situation. You know you would never be in that situation. That's why you can't think, oh, black and blue, back the police. But I ask you this, would you want the police to sick a dog on your unarmed white child? Would you want the police to fucking have that? The black boy got his leg tore the fuck off. The back of his leg tore the fuck off from a dog. But that's the problem with those types of people who say, I back the blue. Take a minute and take the face off that nigga or whatever you want to call him and put your white child that you love so fucking precious face there. And you ask, is this how I want my child to be treated? When Breonna Taylor was fucking killed, y'all still said y'all backed the police. And yes, her boyfriend shot one of them. They was in the fucking bed. He should have shot him. But let me ask you this. Would you want your child in the bed sleep and they come to with a fucking fake one or whatever the fuck, the no-knock one, and blow your child head off? You don't care because you know you ain't gonna be in that situation. You don't have the same fear as black America, brown America. When you don't have that same fear, to me, you are a fucking racist. I'm all for the police to do their fucking job. Listen to me, nigga. I'm all for the fire department to put out fires too. But if a fireman come up with the hose and skeet a nigga down the street instead of putting his house up, I put his house out, put the fire out on his house, I got a problem with that. What the fuck you skeet the nigga down the road for? He wasn't on fire. Oh, he was a nigga, so I need him to take a trip. I mean, think about it. Think about the fireman come up and people, you standing outside and they skeet you with that fucking heavy ass hole and let your house burn to the ground. Who's
your travel agent? The fire department?
I mean, I don't get it. And I try really fucking hard to say, I don't want to hate the police. Because I remember the police that I grew up with, they fed me. They was good people. They gave a fuck.
You can separate the job from the person. I hate the system. I don't hate individual police officers. I hate their fucking job because they know when they go into work that if shit hits the fan, they're going to be protected. They are aware of what's happening. And none of them are speaking out about it. They're quiet. They're humble. None of them are holding the people in positions of power accountable for the bullshit that they are getting away with.
They're starting to be held accountable and they don't like it.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like, oh, I like you see some of these videos that come out where you hear the cops are like, oh, fuck. Am I going to get in trouble for this? And it's like, yeah, so you readily admit that you did something you weren't supposed to do instead of just owning it and be like, man, I fucked up. I need help. Everybody just is like, oh, well, it was this person's fault and they should have had this not happened, then none of this would have happened. Instead of just being like, we fucked up. We're going to kick this guy out of the police force. He's never going to get a police job again. We're going to hold him accountable. And from here on out, anybody who does these things will face the exact same amount of justice.
Yeah, I think
that's never going to happen.
Let me ask you something, white America, because I know I have a lot of white fans, and I'm saying white America. Does it not concern you with all the black and brown people that's been killed by the police? Do you think every one of those are criminals? Like I literally read sometime on like Fox 59, and I didn't realize how racist Indiana was. And people say shit like George Floyd was on methamphetamine or whatever the fuck. So what? Was it right for that motherfucker to have his knee to his neck? Was it right when somebody tell you that they can't breathe and you fuck and the police continue to kill you? I mean, ask yourself, would you want to be treated like that? Would you want to live if you had my skin color, you would be living in fear every fucking day to the point where I never dealt with guns. And I literally told my kids, everybody get a gun. So every fucking body get a gun.
You saw the two officers in California that were just sitting in the car and they got walked up on and shot, right? Mm-hmm. Well, a couple weeks before that happened, these white officers were trying to arrest a dude in Oklahoma and he killed one of them and seriously injured the other one.
I saw that.
Yeah, but the President Trump didn't come out and say a motherfucking word about it.
No, let me say this to you when I saw that. It is...
They maced him. They tased him.
They treated him like shit. They treated him like shit. I mean, and I truly think the guy was on something too. It looked like the guy probably was high from the mug shot.
Have you seen what? Let me show you what I'm talking about.
I've seen the basically the execution in L.A. though, or like heard about it.
No, I didn't watch that, but I truly believe believe that dude was on something. And I think when the police encounter people like that, they should have somebody to come in. It's almost like when somebody robbed the bank and you do a negotiation.
A negotiator?
That's the type of people that the police department should call for mentally ill people.
That's their fucking job.
Yeah.
Did you see the autistic? I hate watching that stuff.
They killed that fucking autistic kid.
Yeah.
And it's still, he was white. Wasn't he white?
Yeah, like that's...
They so quick to shoot. How do you shoot somebody and they tell you, hey, my child got a problem, can you please come help? Well, it ain't to say come kill my child because he got a mental illness.
You keep asking the question how and why, and you have to look at the reason. The system is designed that way. There's no other explanation other than the fact that this is how we are trained. Because for all these officers to make they do the exact same thing.
Right.
They do it doesn't matter what state it happens in. They all do the exact same
of them. They know.
Yeah, and
they
it doesn't.
How many niggas you gonna kill today? How many brown?
It doesn't matter if they're white, black, Asian. It doesn't matter. All the officers do the exact same thing. Instead of de-escalating, when you challenge a police officer's quote unquote authority, they all escalate because they are trained to think that they are the enforcers of whatever bullshit law that they think they have you on. It's not innocent until proven guilty. That shit's for TV.
If you're a police officer in training at the beginning, you get 52 hours of weapons training and 8 hours of de-escalation training. And the weapons training is consistently given over the course of your career. It's consistently given in a way that you will learn the weapons training in the academy, but the de-escalation training is all fragmented and it's basically an afterthought. And so you're right. It's the way they're trained.
No, they de-escalated training. It's called bullets, hollow points.
Right.
Kill
Force.
the motherfucker. The dog.
Until we actually get the police unions money involved, it ain't gonna change.
It's
it ain't
so
gonna
fucking
change because
sad.
if you can get paid, it was a starting salary for a cop's like $30,000, right?
Yeah.
And then by the time you reach sergeant, you're making 60, 70.
Yeah, you're not making a ton of money. Yeah.
So why are you gonna take shit from random people every day when they tell you, oh, you trained for 52 hours with this pistol?
Right.
I'm not finna talk to you about shit. If they not gonna check me, if they gonna back me up regardless of what the fuck I do, as long as I can vilify you instead of vilifying me, why would I change? If I'm just putting myself in the cop's shoes, why would I stand against that? Why are we expecting these people to be moral and citizens of this country when we're not going to punish them for what they do? Like you said, the taxpayers paid that $12 million.
It's incentives and consequences.
You're not giving them any incentive to fucking change until you defund all that bullshit. They are going to keep doing it. So you can ask all the fucking questions you want to about how and why and all this. They don't fucking, if they fucking cared, they would have changed. They don't fucking care.
You start paying that $12 million out of police pensions.
Exactly. Right. If you're going to put a fucking blue and black flag on your shirt and march down the street and say how awesome police are, regardless of how they treat people, why the fuck would they give a fuck?
Those people are not helping either. Like, so in those conversations, kind of what I was trying to say is like in these conversations with cop friends, like they try to explain the complexity of the job, which does exist. And then the people that are allegedly their supporters go on social media and act like fools and make it worse and don't explain, like they don't feel supported by those people. They make it
don't
more,
shout them down either.
Yeah, they go. The one friend was just like, all of a sudden everybody thinks we're racist because the people that are defending us the loudest say the most racist stuff.
And y'all don't check those people. Right. That's why they think that. Because you let that shit, y'all just quiet about it. Meanwhile, y'all tell all these marchers get the fuck out the street and, you know, if Black Lives Matter so much, why are you killing yourself? But you don't never check the motherfuckers on your side. You don't ever come out and say, hey, all these back the blue no matter what motherfuckers need to calm the fuck down and shut the hell up.
If they did that though, would you hear it?
Yes.
I'm saying, like, I think the way that social media is set up is that the calm, reasonable voice that gives an opinion that isn't inflaming doesn't get heard.
Well,
it's not incentivized to pop up.
To me, with dealing with people like that, and you know, a lot of time when you try to do it in a mass, it doesn't work because people get tuned out. What do you do to change people's mind one-on-one? Like, say, for instance, if you got a person in your household that you know that racist, instead of saying, you know, you're fucking racist, the world have changed, shit don't work like that anymore. A lot of time when you white America, you just say, oh, he's fucking racist, I'm not going to deal with him. Well, who the fuck going to check that person? That person know that as long as they're in their white circle, they're never going to be fucking checked. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what's wrong when you don't force people or when you don't call people out on their bullshit. I just told y'all on a podcast or something ago, a guy put on my Facebook, our Facebook page, community page, and said Black Lives and team. And I say, everybody else tiptoed around. I say, no, bitch, you a racist. I'm black. I live out here too, and I pay my motherfucking tax. Fuck is wrong with you, white boy? And yeah, he could not. But he blocked me and wrote a whole bunch of shit. So I put it back on a Facebook page. But just think about this white man, probably he's 50 years old, ain't never been checked. Ain't never had a real conversation about it. That shit is passed down. So if you go to your fucking Thanksgiving and you know your uncle whatever is fucking racist and you just sit back and say he needs to change and don't open your mouth, how do you expect change to happen if you don't speak the fuck up? I'm just saying, period, people. How do you, if you don't check your racist relatives, and let me say this, not going to the Thanksgiving dinner ain't gonna help the fucking situation. Yeah. You check that nigga in front of every motherfucking body. Because you have seen me many times check my daughter when I said, no, you ain't about to put everybody in the same motherfucking category. All white people ain't fucking evil. All motherfucking black people ain't thugs. And all white men don't rape their daughters. Or however the fuck that's supposed to go.
Yeah, you have to approach it too without hostility. Well, I think and I don't think that you do. You and Garyana talk the way that you do, but you're not going to change somebody's mind by shouting.
You're not trying to change their mind. You're trying to change the circumstance in which they operate their bullshit. You don't. Right. You can't stop people from being racist, but you can stop that racist motherfucker from being comfortable. So every time he comes around people that he knows don't think the way he does, he got to check himself, or he can't operate in that space anymore. I'm not trying to change no racist motherfucker's mind. I'm trying to make it so that they stay the fuck out of the way between everybody else. You want to have that hate and that evil and that bullshit in your heart?
You're not gonna bring it to this white.
You're not coming around where everybody else don't feel like that.
Dinner.
You're not finna do that. You're not finna fuck up Thanksgiving because you a piece of shit.
But think about
We're not
this.
finna sit here and eat up here and let you have all. No, fuck that.
But when you don't,
that's bullshit.
That's vice versa. I mean, even with anything that I do in life, you're not about to sit here and just fucking throw a whole bunch of people into one category, because it's not fucking true. Like all my neighbors, I told y'all this on the last podcast, went in my Facebook, all white people ain't like that. I know you're not like that. I'm not gonna group you because this motherfucker is a fucking ding dong dumbass piece of shit. That's not how I roll. But I called him out when so many others wouldn't call him out. So you make changes by, calling people out. Martin Luther King didn't go talk to the president and say, hey, they down here sticking dogs on nigga. We need to do something. This country need to change. But if you sit back and say, I just be glad when he died so the world can be a better place. It ain't going to be no better place, because guess what? He raised another one of him. And that one going to raise another one of them. Yeah, I don't understand why white America don't feel black America pain. Because somewhere, somebody made sure you didn't feel all pain. Somebody said, my kids are not going to be exposed to nigga and black folks or black folks shit, because I don't want my white baby to give a fuck.
You said the word group, and that's the thing, like out group versus in group policing. Like, you expect a Republican and a Democrat to go at each other. Like, you expect Nancy Pelosi to say shit about Donald Trump. But it's more powerful when, like, James Mattis and Scaramucci and Omarosa, all these people who are in his group, come out and say, no, this guy's really legitimately crazy. Like, you listen to that voice. And so, like, if you're in a family, the person who goes, this isn't acceptable here, you can't talk like that, I'm going to challenge you on this, that's way more powerful. And like, that's, I think when it's talked about, like, anti-racism, like, that's what, Dion, like, that's what you told me, like, that's what we're talking about. Like, just don't allow that. Let them be comfortable. Don't just sit there with a smirk on your face disagreeing. Like, actually challenge that and say, why do you feel that's acceptable? I do. Yeah, I absolutely do. Did it 2 weeks ago.
You have to.
I mean, you have to. That's the only way this world get better, because those people make this world a bad place.
I do it differently because I'm
not saying you gotta yell and call whoever a nigga or slap them upside the head. You say, hey, the world have changed.
Yeah, I just, like, my approach towards these kind of conversations is always different than a lot of other people's. Like, I try to, like, question them and challenge those beliefs and, like, try to get it, like, why do you feel that this is okay? Like, why would you say that? Don't you understand this? Like, as opposed to just, like, the way that, like, say that. You should, like, the way that my sister does it, which is just yelling, you're a fucking racist.
I agree with your sister. Yeah, because when you've known this person, say if you at a Thanksgiving dinner, you've known this person all your fucking life, what's the purpose of tapping him on his hand? It's time for somebody to say, you done shitted in your drawers, baby, and it's time for you to stop shitting in your drawers. So you say, you're a fucking racist, and you look them in the eye with your pretty blue eyes, and you stare them the fuck down.
Yeah, but you know what you get? 20 years of, just don't bring that up around her.
No.
As opposed to actually changing the...
So here's the thing.
That changed the environment when that piece of shit...
Who is uncomfortable in that situation? The racist or you?
You.
No, everybody.
No, the racist isn't. He's not uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't bring the subject up again.
You bring the motherfucking subject up. Every time you see that motherfucker.
If you know this person is racist, why are you allowing them in your space?
Sometimes you don't have an option.
You always have an option. Because if that person, if why would you hang out with somebody who's against everything you're for?
Well,
regardless of biology, why would you do that to yourself? How can you call yourself an ally when you break bread with the enemy? That doesn't make any sense to me. If I know somebody,
did you guys just not say? Did Miss Pat just not say don't go to Thanksgiving with your parents? There's a lot of people whose parents are really racist.
And
right
you know
now.
why? And you know why they're still racist? Because you don't fucking do anything about it. Because you don't do shit about it. You hang out with them. You allow them to be on their bullshit.
No, having a conversation is not doing nothing.
Listen.
Doing nothing. No. Let me finish talking. Let me finish my point. Having a conversation is not doing nothing. Sitting there smiling, not avoiding confrontation is doing nothing. Screaming at them or saying I'm not coming to Thanksgiving is not productive.
What I'm saying is, it's like when I broke the cycle in my family. I broke the cycle of welfare, being uneducated. Well, I still dropped out. In an abusive relationship. I'm the only person in my family that really lives like this. Okay, mm-hmm. I said this is not how I wanted to live. I could have did what my sister did. So take out being poor and say all of these niggas are racist. So it was my choice to step outside that box. So if you dealing with a racist in your family, but I constantly tell my family, you can do better. You don't want to fucking do better. Now, if I just walked away and just say, I'm going to let them be racist, that's a different thing. I just called my sister a week ago. I said, look, bitch, you really need to fucking vote. She was like, why should I do that? Bitch, because it's your right, and so many people died for you to have that fucking right. Can you please stop smoking crack for 2 days and fill out an absentee ballot, because you're going to be absent anyway, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you got to constantly, with me, I constantly tell my cousins them when I'm talking to them, you can do better if you want to do better. I call them out. Well, why you in this bullshit? You 50-something years old, you still doing the same shit, drinking and whatever. It's the same thing with racism. You got to have those, white people have a tendency of just getting comfortable, just too fucking comfortable. And you don't want to have those conversations. Like my neighbors, they don't want to have those conversations. I want you to know what it is to be black in America. It's not like being white in America. I'm not comfortable in this fucking country. And I make more money than a lot of people in my neighborhood do. But I'm not comfortable because I was born with something America think is a fucking disease, which is black skin. It's not the fucking same. So every time I have a chance of talking to a motherfucker who don't understand what it is to be black and brown in this country, I talk to him. My husband and Garyana don't have, let them be. No, I'm not going to let them be.
But that's my point. And your approach with your neighbor is the right approach. You don't leave him alone. He's not comfortable. You're really not comfortable, but you're having a conversation, and I guarantee you've made that guy think about things he's never thought before.
Well, when you had a racist Thanksgiving and you got that racist uncle, every time you encounter that motherfucker, you should continue to throw knowledge at him. The world have changed. The world don't need people like you. I'm quite sure if you had a conversation with a racist in your family, if you got a racist in your family, and if you keep having these uncomfortable conversations, that person will start to fucking think. That person don't think because all you say, well, hey, that person gonna be whoever to be. That's not how you make change in this country.
So I want to understand your approach, Chris, because
I love when we do episodes like this.
We disagreed about the approach, so I want to hear you out on how you handle.
And we do love each other.
I think the difference in you're a racist and you're saying something very racist. Why do you think that? The difference in that you can change a mind one way and you can push a person back in the other way. If I had walked into this podcast 2 years ago with the brainwashing that I basically had, and I had felt that you guys were attacking my identity, calling me a racist, I would have just quit, and it was uncomfortable. But you guys said, "Why do you think that way?" You specifically said, why do you think that way? Don't you realize this? See this point? You're educated on all these different points, and you made me think about things that I hadn't thought about before. But that only happened because I felt respected by you. But if I walked in here and you just started yelling, you're a racist motherfucker, I'm not coming back. You know, and that's the difference between like your neighbor specifically, like between Garyana, where she'll just say you're a racist, I'm not fucking with you, and your approach, which is really rooted in love, and that I'm going to change this person's mind, or I'm going to at least try, because this person deserves to think about what they're saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think if you approach Thanksgiving with, I'm not showing up because they're a fucking racist, you've lost an opportunity.
Yes.
Sitting there silently, you've lost an opportunity. Saying you're a racist motherfucking piece of shit, you've lost an opportunity. But if you step back and approach it the way that you guys approached it with me, and go, that's pretty racist. You understand, like, when you say, like the NFL, for instance, because that's what you'll be there Thanksgiving Day. Mm-hmm. Black athletes will do something around Black Lives Matter, and your uncle or your dad
athletes. Hey, what you say is black people gonna kneel.
That's what I'm saying.
Black people gonna kneel.
It's the blackness that they're going to be offended by. They're going to say something because they feel comfortable saying it because they've said it forever, and you just sat there, or you now think differently than you did a year ago, and you have a choice in that moment.
So let me ask you this. So if you was in that situation where you sitting there Thanksgiving and NFL came on and black folks gonna kneel, and somebody in your family said something about the black athletes, are you gonna speak up and say, hey, you're racist? No, not that racist. You're racist. Don't say that. You gotta say you're racist. Do you realize the world have changed? Do you realize what we're going through? Do you realize black people has been yelling for the same thing since the start of time? Do you realize how fucked up this country is? It takes a lot of guts when you're dealing with a relative. What it takes is courage.
That's exactly what it is. It's courage.
Well, then that's what everybody need to get this Thanksgiving.
I think
you call your side out on the bullshit, whether they black or you white or whatever the fuck. Because if you come to my house talking about Chris, who's like family to me, I whoop your motherfucking ass. I throw you out this motherfucker.
I appreciate it because one of the girls said something and it was racist. And it was like one of the kids, one of the crack babies, we were all hanging out. And I was having a conversation. One of the other girls came in. You're white. You're white. You're white. Like putting me down basically for my skin color up here. And you go, you're
at
not,
my house.
Yeah. You go, you're not going to talk to my friend that way. Like
what crack baby?
The oldest.
My kids ain't no crack baby, nigga.
No.
The oldest crack baby.
You
Yeah.
talking about my kids?
One of the girls said
one of my kids.
Yeah, we're hanging out in the kitchen.
No, not Garyana or Ashley. No,
Garyana doesn't. But
kids.
Yes.
Garyana's.
No, you say crack baby. I'm thinking you talking about the fans. You talking about one of the kids. They ain't no crack baby.
No, we were hanging out. You and I were talking in the kitchen, and the four crack babies were all kind of coming in, and they were making fun.
They're
of
not
me.
crack babies, Chris. They're my kids.
Is it me?
No.
Okay, keep going.
Just keep going.
Okay.
And so one of them just kept like really just hammering the white thing, and I started to think like, I would never I would never come in and be like, oh, there you are being black again. And I was just kind of like, all right, that sucks. And then you go, hey, you're not going to talk to my friend like that. Like that is, you're being racist. And she goes, how am I being racist? Like you go, you're being racist. Like, do you realize that you're putting him down for the color of his skin? Would you like if he did that to you?
Oh, I remember that.
And she goes, no. She goes, then you go, that's called racism. She goes, she got embarrassed, and so she didn't like straight up apologize, but you could tell like she started thinking, and the other three kids noticed that too.
That was her.
Speak of the devil. And so like that was a moment where like I felt appreciated because you were calling it out, and everybody else in the room noticed that like that's not acceptable, and even if other people in the house make that joke, you're not going to do that, especially to somebody, because you can love a person of a different skin color.
I don't make jokes like that. A lot of that shit become because, and this is the problem I have with with Black history, teaching Black kids Black history, which we should teach our kids Black history. But some of it is just too strong, and you put all of this shit in these young kids' head, and they don't really know how to dissect it all, and it scares me sometimes because you want them teaching their history, you want them tell them how, they sick dogs on our people and that we were slaves and all that. But me, I don't want my kids to hate. I don't want my kids to look and say, oh my God, we were slaves and you fucking did it, Chris. Even when I just know with kids, you can't pile all that shit on them. Cause I'm 48 years old, y'all. And I remember watching Roots and watching you shouldn't let kids watch shit like that. You remember Roots?
Yeah, it did make me hate white people.
It scared the shit out of me. It literally scared the shit out of me. But we was raised in a different household. And I also had a mama who was always saying, white people is the fucking devil. White people. So you see this white man, and when Roots came on, black folks watch Roots. What was that shit, a week long?
Yeah, it was
like
7-part miniseries.
It was like 9 or 15 hours a day. And we sat down and we watched it, and all you watched was these white people whipping and they raping. And then you had my black mama in my ear saying white people is the devil. And I was so fucking scared of white people. Between Roots and what Mildred had told me about them. But then I grew up and I realized that we're fucking all the same. What? But did she build some hate there for you? Yeah, she built some hate.
Yeah, I guess and I'll ask you this, Dion, because like the difference that the way that I saw race and being checked on race, the way that Miss Pat did it was firm, but it was like, hey, stop, you can't do this. Like, it made her think. And the way that race was always talked about in my house, the way that, family members would check racist family members was yelling. And I've just never seen that work. I've never seen that I guess if it gets to a point where it's like a heated argument, then you just sort of lost and there's no point in continuing the conversation. It's more like just like move on. Where it's like when she checked one of the kids, it wasn't anger. It wasn't out of a place of anger, but it was tough. It was firm, and you tell me, but like, that's what I'm trying to say is that like, just the angry yelling doesn't really, it's not effective.
Whoever you deal with in your family that you feel like is racist, Chris, you don't have to yell. Just educate. When I talk to my dentist, who I think is a little racist, but I like him. He don't think he's racist. To me, sometimes he say some racist shit, and I'm not yelling. I try to educate. Because usually before I go up there to him, I got a list of things I want to talk about anyway. All he talk about is socialism. And do you want this to be a socialism? Because I say, what do socialism mean? He just looked at me. I said, you don't even know what the fuck it mean. But all y'all be hollering socialism. What's wrong with helping the next person? Isn't that what the Bible say that y'all read? They shall love their neighbors. Ain't that what the Bible say?
Mm-hmm. But don't get me started on that.
I know. But I mean, when you sit here and you just let these people go and say, well, I'm going to let that person be. No. Call them out in a nice way. If you think that person will listen to you talking calm and say, hey, you're racist. That's racist. Time has changed, and there's no place on this earth for people like the way you think anymore.
100% of the time you are asked why, and you better have a good answer for it too. And that's why I think like the courage is backed by preparation and knowledge. And
you read a
that's
lot.
What I was getting.
If you ever call out a
racist,
I'm quite sure you ready to throw some knowledge shit on them. All the books you read.
Are you checking them, or are you educating them? Because there's a difference. Now, if your goal is to educate them, then there's a way of going about it. If you're there to just check them, and that's all you need to do, it's like, yo, check you. I'm not trying to change your motherfucking mind. If you want to be racist, fine. I'm not trying to change your mind, but you're not finna do that here, and you're not finna associate with me and my people. Nah. They have to be willing to want to be educated. If they are willing to have that conversation, then have it. If they have demonstrated to you that they're not willing to have that conversation, then fuck them. They're grown.
It's
different when you're talking about kids, because they have a whole life of learning ahead of them.
Yeah.
That grown motherfucker has already made his choices. Fuck them. Like, I'm not finna sit here and try to change no 50-year-old white man's mind. Fuck him.
I mean, but let me ask you this: would you sit there and have a conversation?
If he wanted
race?
to talk about it, absolutely. But I'm not finna. He's not finna come into my space with his racist bullshit and then get checked on it and then have an attitude with me. That's not finna happen. You're not finna come over to my house and to my area with your bullshit, and I stand firm on, yo, that's not cool here, and then you want to debate me about why it's not cool. Fuck out of here. I'm not doing that. You are old enough, you are grown enough to go and do the research yourself. I'm not trying to change your life. That's on you. Now, if you need help and you need clues and you actually want to talk, then fine, we'll have a conversation. But don't be on no bullshit talking about, well, you're wrong because it's been this way for years and years and years and I don't want to change. Fuck out of here. I don't have time for that. You don't have time for that. That's just going to be
I got all
everybody's
time in the world
thing.
to have a conversation with a racist. I don't give a fuck. I like talking. Hey. You know what I mean? We should talk.
Whatever happened with your neighbor? Because you mentioned him again, and I was like, oh, they're talking again? I wondered, where has that gone? Because we talked about it on the podcast.
You know what?
level.
I don't even know if that's what you call racist. I call him closed-minded. What's so weird is that he's got a beautiful Mexican wife. So I said, how you gonna fuck the minority, but you don't like the minority? You got 3 beautiful kids by, but I'm an open-minded person. He was over here today. I don't have a problem with him. I call him closed-minded because he don't get it. You know, when I hear people say, well, liberals don't work, I'm like, nigga, my husband go to General Motors every day. I work. I don't know where they get this concept that we don't work, that we, people down there looting. I said, those are all types of people down there looting. But what started the looting? They'll never want to talk about what started the looting. It's usually because the police done killed somebody of some color.
I said no business got burned down when the cops was acting right.
Right.
It only seems to happen when people don't act right. And look, this country has a history of bullshit.
Racism.
You got Trump coming out with an executive order on teaching pro-American fucking indoctrination to children in schools.
Not mine.
They don't want to tell you the truth about what happened in this country because it makes people feel bad. They don't take into account that there's 13% of the population always feels bad. Because when we bring up what's happening, we are met with, that's not true because I don't have any experience in that. Right. People deny other people's reality because they haven't experienced it themselves. And then when you talk to them about it, they get an attitude with you like you're an asshole.
So, Dion, explain to the audience the thing with the whole Trump thing, because I just saw that today too.
So basically, the 1619 Project is actually trying to teach the real history and how brutal racism and slavery and all that other shit that happened in this country. And Trump is like, why are we teaching people that? That's not what America stands for. People need to understand.
Is this something new?
No,
it's a whitewashing.
No, what Trump is doing is he's releasing a bunch of executive orders right now to try and gin up, to make it look like he's doing something. He's turning in his homework last minute so it looks like he gets credit. So right before the election, so like he's banning TikTok by executive order. He's going to roll out by executive order a healthcare plan, which was hilarious. He's doing this. Like, it's just a bunch of it's like him trying to look like he's tough on basically the left and anything the left holds dear. And obviously, if you believe that racism exists, you're brainwashed by liberals. You're brainwashed by the media, which is just a frustrating thing. Like, and you've nailed it. Like, this year has shown me more than any other year that if people don't see it happening, if they don't experience if it's not in their world, they don't give a fuck about it. And if it threatens their world, they'll do anything to make sure that you don't
and that's why
make them uncomfortable.
I don't understand why your white ass is voting third party.
Because I know Joe.
Shut the fuck up. I want to hear.
I know Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's record.
I don't give a fuck. We got to stop the clown.
You can't fix a problem if you deny it exists. And the reason this...
If I was a libertarian and I saw that motherfucker was in the office, I would leave my team, because I know my team ain't got a chance, and join your team so we can reunite to get rid of this evil motherfucker. That's what I would do. Because if I love my country so much. Like, I was listening to a thing, I posted it, and this guy was like, if Mexican and black people would get together in Texas, they could run motherfucking Texas. That's what I would do to get rid of the evil motherfucker. Hell yeah, I'll leave my post. I'm gonna leave my post and join you, so we can make the world, so we can make shit a little bit better. And I know Joe Biden ain't the answer.
That's a liberal concept of everybody.
I want everybody to do good. I try to love.
That's not
everybody.
how this system works. I keep trying to tell y'all that. Like,
I know.
America doesn't give a fuck about everybody. America says, "What can you do for me? And is it going to cost me money? Because if it is, I don't want to."
But that's how I'm built. If I see you losing and I'm winning, I'm gonna go pull you up so we can both float together. That's why.
That's what's supposed to happen.
But with your strong belief, and I beg you all the time, even in text message, you don't have a chance of winning. So why not come join my party so we can be a strong front, unite to get this clown out?
I don't understand why I should believe anything Joe Biden or Kamala Harris
It's not even
says.
about. It's just better. It's better than what we already got. It ain't even about. They ain't better. It's just better than what we got.
And I don't believe in perpetuating that system.
Well,
I'd rather be registered as a protest vote against these two options.
Yep, and it doesn't count. It doesn't help America. Because if Trump get back in, you'll be still reading and tweeting, talking the same bullshit. That's why this country is so fucked up.
I live in Indiana. What's the chances of Indiana being? It's not a swing state.
I keep trying to tell her that she don't.
Let me tell you,
my vote.
You have
my
to take
vote is
into account the actual numbers.
Obama turned it.
My electoral. Yeah,
because he was a good candidate.
Yeah.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris suck.
Right now, we're in a bind where Pinocchio is a good candidate. I'm being for real. You know, let me say this to you.
I understand.
Let me
what
say
you're
this to you.
trying
If
to say.
Trump was not the Republican Party, let's say if it was Bush and it was Joe Biden, and I'm a big ass Democrat, I probably would go vote for Bush.
Did you?
I never voted for Bush. I like Bush. I really did like Bush. I almost voted for him his second term. But when you got somebody with the division that this man has put in this world, with the stuff that he said about black and brown people, with the bullshit that he spewed, I don't give a fuck what party I am. I got to join the party that's big enough to get this motherfucker out
Yeah, but
of
Joe
office.
Biden's the guy that is a major contributor. He was the in-group guy on the left saying, you guys need to vote for these two crime bills, for the drug war.
So let me say this
He
to
is
you.
the root of the system.
I like when white people bring that up. Ain't none of y'all never been shit when it came down to us. All y'all made laws to keep us from rioting. So what the fuck are y'all talking about when y'all want to say, stop, when y'all want to say Joe Biden? He's just an average white motherfucker. All of y'all did that. Who made them laws? From the time a nigga got bit, from the motherfucking, every law that ever been made against black America has been made by white people. So why do y'all want to street? He locked up niggas. He ain't the first one. He ain't gonna be the last one. Y'all been doing this shit since you brought us here. So what are you talking about?
Don't hold him accountable because
No,
he's
what you
just
mean
part of
hold
the
him
group?
accountable? He was already vice president. If it wasn't Trump, I wouldn't be voting. If it was not Donald Trump, I would not be voting. I'd be like, go on with that. If it was somebody else. But this piece of shit with the division, the bullshit that he spurred, the ugliness, the fucking, as fearful I am to walk outside. I can't even walk on the track from thinking somebody gonna kill me. I ain't never been this uncomfortable in this country dealing with this motherfucking food.
I hate to break it to you, Pat, but it ain't never going back. You're not getting your country back. You're not.
It was, well,
like I said, once you open that box, you can't put it back in. He has opened that box.
It's going to be a generation. It's a generation before we go back.
There is not, the new normal is this right now because everybody's got cell phones. These feelings that people are having are not going away. They've been amplified. They've been put into the mainstream now. It's a mainstream issue that we have to say Black Lives Matter, and then people immediately say all lives matter and blue lives matter. That's not going away. And the reason why people feel that way is because they don't have experience. You don't have experience with a black life, so you don't know why they are saying it matters. It's take the politics out of it. When a black person says to you, my life matters, and your response to that is all life matters, then why is that black life not included in that? Why is it a black person is telling you that their life matters? Why aren't black people screaming all lives matter? That's the question you need to ask yourself when you scream to somebody, all lives matter. How come black people do not feel included in all lives matter? If you can answer that question, then you'll understand why they're saying Black Lives Matter. Because when it comes to all lives, nobody seems to give a shit about the black ones. No one seems to give a fuck. And black people are tired of watching themselves killed on the nightly news by people who shouldn't be killing them. Nobody should kill anybody, but it damn sure shouldn't be somebody funded by taxpayers. And they should be held accountable when that happens. Regardless of what their fucking criminal history is, unless you have visual evidence of them in the act of murdering someone else, because that's really the only reason you should be getting the death penalty is if you kill somebody yourself. So if a cop thinks you wrote a bad check, should they shoot you in the back 7 times? If you tell a cop that you have a gun permit and you reach in your bag to get it out, should a cop shoot you in the face with your kids in the back seat? No. That's the issue. Take all the George Soros bullshit and the propaganda bullshit out of it. Ask yourself that question. Should this happen to anybody for whatever egregious crime you think they committed? If the answer to that is yes, then there is no conversation to be had. If you believe that somebody should be shot because they had a fake $20 bill, I cannot talk to you. I can't change your mind.
Yeah.
You have already decided that is in and of itself a death penalty. And that's where the conversation should need to start. Not whether their life mattered, but why you think it's okay to kill them for $20 fucking.
I said that earlier.
So all this other, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, take the fucking politics out of it, because all of that shit's really about finance anyway. Mm-hmm. It's a financial gain to keep the system that we have. The system that we have is predicated on race. There's a reason why 96% of all lawmakers have been white men. There's a reason that happens. There's a reason why a corporation can be labeled as an individual, and they can get lobbyists to write laws to help them make more money. There's a reason for that. So if you're on the fence or you're not sure, or you hear people talk about, well, why is this happening? You need to go to the root of why that's happening. Why is it beneficial for the system to operate the way that it's been operating? Because it doesn't cost an old white man anything when a black person is killed.
Cops are having so many
old white people.
Yeah, but cops. Without the cops, those old white people are people with bad opinions. They need the cops to enforce the law. The laws are the problem.
And so what happens is, who funds the police? Who backs what politicians are backed by police unions?
Both parties. Really.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what happens is, when you're a candidate, I'm tough on crime. Is a fake $20 bill a crime worth death? No, it's not. But it's a crime, and you got to be tough on crime. And so there's no dissection between what actual law and order is. Mm-hmm. It's just, I'm for pro-police. Regardless of how stupid the policing system is, no one breaks that down. No one says, hey, yes, I want police, but I want police to do their job. I don't want police to kill people when they shouldn't be killing people. It's just, either you're pro-police or you're not, and you're against the police, and you don't think we should have police. And it's like, where's the nuance?
Yeah.
Because as a black person in this country, you deal with nuance every day you walk out your house. You have to deal with the nuance of white comfort and why you don't belong there. You have to earn your place. And when you're trying to earn your place, they're still telling you, no matter what you do, you're still going to be a nigga. You're still going to be a nigga. I'm still going to see you that way. Yep. Why? Because the system is designed for me to see you that way. And it isn't until you actually look at the reason why there's a barrier, why there's an income inequality, until you actually look at those reasons that this shit happens, that you realize, oh, fuck, this country is not what it says it is. There's a reason why they sent all those people off to Vietnam to die, knowing they were going to lose. There's a reason why they did that. Part of that problem is that people who don't experience what the other side is going through look at the other side and say, oh, they're just a bunch of whining bitch ass crybabies. They don't sit down and have a conversation and be like, oh, I'm doing that to you. That's not in my heart. I believe that Christ is Lord and that we should love our neighbors. But here at my home, we don't act like that. But then you allow all your friends and your peers to act that way.
Outsource the immorality.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not voting for Joe Biden. And I have no disagreement that Joe Biden sleeping in the White House is going to be less than divisive than Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, it's exactly what Dion just said. Like, I'm not going to vote for somebody who continues to allow the tools that are used to perpetuate the system he's talking about. You're advocating for more laws, do more, enforce more interactions with the police, like more. At the end of the day, I'm not comfortable outsourcing that to other people to use that force against other people. I'm not going to vote for people who are going to hurt other people in my name.
We're gonna always be hurt because we're black.
Yeah,
we're gonna always be. You're never gonna know what it feels like to be black. And I don't know a lot about politics, but I would say this: if I was a libertarian and Donald Trump was in office, I would vote for the less evil. And right now, to me, Joe Biden is the less evil. Ain't none of them. Ain't no white man that ever been president that I'm only 48, that I ever thought they gave a fuck about black America. No politician, none of them, unless they was black. Everybody that's upset me when everybody want to say, well, he made laws for black people to go to jail. Everybody before him made laws to hurt us. And they're going to continue to make laws to hurt us. But this bullshit I'm living in now, I feel like I'm living through the shit my mama them lived through. When you riding down the street in your white neighborhood and you don't even want to look over at a white person in the car because you too scared that they might just fucking shoot you. That's how it feels to be black in America, Chris. You know how bad I won't let Junebug go nowhere. When it's it's bad when I'm a convicted felon and I want everybody in my house to have a gun. When I'm giving my son hundreds of dollars to show him how to stand right to shoot a motherfucker before they shoot them. And Dion might be right. We might not never get all America back where you can speak and where people wasn't so upfront with their racism. We might not.
I think the goal is not. I don't think the goal is to change. I just need people to recognize. If you want to be racist, fine. Don't call me a liar when I tell you what you're doing. When I show you who you are, don't tell me I'm the fucking fool. That's you. This is what you are doing or what you are not doing by proxy. That's all.
I just say anybody.
Because I know
Trump.
that you can't change someone's heart who doesn't want to change. I know that for a fact. I've witnessed it. I've experienced that. You can't change somebody who don't want to change, but you can call them out on the lies that they tell themselves. And you are fucking lying to yourself if you think that racism doesn't exist and that it's not a problem. You are lying to yourself.
Do you think racism doesn't exist, Chris?
Of course it exists.
Yeah, it does.
No, I mean,
so, it is fearful. I'm looking dead into the camera. It is fearful to be a black person in this country. You know, when my youngest son, even not killed, you know what's crazy? And it's bad when you got to tell your black son, keep your uniform on. Because you would think that they pull up and they see him in this police-looking uniform, like, oh, okay, I feel safe when I see my son in that uniform. But my youngest son, who got a little twist in his hair, who drive his car, and I'm texting him all the time, and I'm scared all the time, and
that's no way to live.
It's no way to live. I've said that so many times on this podcast. I'd rather fight breast cancer than to fight the fear that I have every night that some white person is going to shoot Junebug, or some racist officer is going to pull him over and put a dog on him or kill him. And then I don't need your shitty ass millions of dollars. I just want you to leave my fucking child alone. And that's why I'm, the shit that, I don't know if we was headed this way. I don't know if when Obama was in office, shit steamed up and people was like really crazy because they didn't want a black president. I'm quite sure it was if you was a true racist like you always been. But to see this shit look like 1950 to me.
Yeah, so I was talking to an older white male family member, and they were like, oh, it's just out of control. And I'm curious on your guys' opinion on this, because I'd never heard this person say anything like this. I was in the grocery store, and I saw this black guy staring at me. And it's just so awful what's happened, because now all of a sudden I feel uncomfortable, and I feel afraid of like this person basically staring at me. And I went, yeah, but you're just experiencing that for the first time. You realize that, right? They go, what do you mean? And then I explained kind of what you just said. I hadn't thought about it that way. But like, I thought that was an instructive thing, where this person who is going to vote for the system that is going to continue to perpetuate the thing that makes you afraid for Junebug. And I go, like, you realize he's probably staring at you because he's afraid of you, you know? And it had never occurred to this person. I was just like, we're at a really like awful point where everybody's afraid of each other, and like I don't know what to do with it.
I'm not afraid, and that's part of the problem is fear.
Well, Dion, it's hard for you to get killed when you play your game all day.
Well, here's the thing though. Regardless of where I go in this country, I go on the road with you a lot. I don't fear people I don't know. And that's part of the problem is everybody's afraid of people they don't fucking know. That will kill you in and of itself. That fear of the unknown will kill you because it'll drive your mind to places that you ain't got no business being.
My biggest fear is for my black son. Well, you would never have that fear.
That's an understandable fear for you to have. But at the same time, you live a life of comfort that you should not have that fear.
Nigga, Trayvon Martin was killed in a white neighborhood.
Again, what happened to him, he wasn't afraid of George Zimmerman. He was going home. He was targeted. There's a huge difference between being a target.
And that's what I don't want Junebug to become. That's what I don't want Nakia to become and Raymond to become. You just don't know. You can't speak for the racist individual.
Right.
You know, it's almost like they hunting us. I almost feel like they hunting us because they killing us so frequently. I cannot remember in my life the way black people is getting killed. Not even when we was killing ourselves. I just don't remember this type of killing from white people. The police, they're literally sticking dogs on us. They're killing us. I mean, you might have the shit that goes on in Chicago is a different fucking thing. But I mean, when you pay when you pay a person's salary, you don't expect for them to be killing somebody every other weekend, and then they don't go to jail, but you get a lawsuit.
So since George Floyd died, there 288 people have been killed by police. There's probably more because that was like a week ago that I read that. So again,
is that more, or is it just because we're more aware?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you because everybody has a phone now and we're all seeing what's been here.
Because that's what as she was playing the man being attacked by the dog, I'm like, God, is this just always like, feels like every other day there's another video, which it didn't feel that way 2 years ago. But I don't know if it's just more frequent because the tensions are higher or like what. But either way,
it's probably a combination of both.
Yeah.
The fact that it's always been here and now we're seeing it more and now we're trying to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, we have a cop friend who almost got killed because he was afraid to be one of the police officers to kill another black person, even though that person was shooting at him. Now, I don't want any police to live that way.
Yeah.
I don't want you to not be able to execute
You know what was crazy? Because I was calling him that day. And he answered the phone and he was like, I was just in a shootout. And I was like, then I turned on the news. It was here in Indy. And I was like, why the fuck you didn't kill that motherfucker? He said, to be honest with you, it was some kids out there and I didn't want to shoot no fucking body kid. And I don't want to be a white man that kill a... I said, you should have shot that motherfucker. But he said, I was more concerned of the kids that was out there that day. But you got some that just shoot you right in front of your kids.
Yeah, like the story out of Chicago is that the gangs there have put a bounty on cops, and like shots at cops have gone up like 900% this year. Like I read that and my heart sank for the cops. Like I started to feel empathy for police officers and their families. Like just that now, how's that gonna?
Why would they feel the need to put a bounty on police?
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I understand.
And so it's like you create a new problem by not dealing with the old one.
Right.
And it's like, so you can blame them if you want to, but they weren't doing that before. Why weren't they doing it before? Why haven't there been bounties on police for hundreds of years? There's a reason why shit happens.
Because people of color is tired. And you know, when I heard that, I was like, man, you know, I want police officers to go home to their kids. I wanted my heart to sink. But as a black person in this country, I didn't know how to feel.
The best way for you to go home safe is to do your job the correct way. No one is dumb enough to kill a cop and think they're going to get away with it.
Well, what about the 2 cops that were just killed in L.A.? Now I heard that they was in some type of gang or something. That was a hit out on them.
That's probably I've read that's kind of that Chicago example's happening all over the places, you know. And then
Did you hear about they was in a gang or something like that?
Yes, I think
it was a hit out on them or some shit. Did they die?
No, they lived, and then the 2 women that they had in the back of the car, I think, lived as well. But they
shot the 2 women in the back of the car.
Yeah, and they have a long road to recovery. And then there were protesters outside of their hospital.
It wasn't many.
But like even a dozen people chanting "I hope you die" is like ugly. But
well, that's like when white folks chanted "They hope George Floyd died." They didn't give a fuck.
And it's ugly. And it should be like the coalitional instinct is these people are with me and I should just stay silent or speak up on their behalf. Like when bad shit happens, we should say it. Like Dion's right. Like gang members putting bounties on cops is horrible and ugly and shouldn't happen. And the way to fix it is to examine the steps of how we got there and change that link. Like not to encourage another step that makes it even worse, that's going to make it even more violent.
Do you think Trump woke this shit up? Because we wasn't like this 8 years ago.
No, we were. You just didn't see it. I mean, traveling in libertarian circles, going to tea parties, like...
He would go to the Tea Party. I
helped found the Indiana Tea Party. I went to all that shit, and what you saw...
You helped founded the Indiana Tea Party?
I did.
You was a racist?
I was not a racist. See, that's where... if you
you wasn't there for Lipton tea, nigga.
If you call anybody in the Tea Party a racist, you that's offensive.
Wasn't the Tea Party racist?
No. There were racists in the Tea Party. That's like saying all Black Lives Matter is Marxist.
If you're in the Tea Party and you hear the racist shit and you don't be like, yo, shut the fuck up, get out of here.
Yeah, the Tea Party doesn't exist anymore. This was 10 years ago. That's what I'm saying.
You started the Tea Party and you ate my ribs.
You never made me ribs.
What you eat over here?
Oxtail.
You ate my oxtails?
He
produces your podcast.
You have a completely different conception of what the Tea Party is than the reality of where the rooms that I was in, apparently. Flat out.
I do have a heart for racists.
I mean, go fuck yourself. I mean, there's no other thing for me to say than you're being rude as fuck right now. And you can go fuck yourself.
I let a tea party in my house.
Now she's just trying to annoy me, isn't she?
Yeah.
All right. No, there is, but I will tell you, 10 years ago, there were definitely racists
So
there.
what was your tea party name? Good Dick Willie?
It wasn't that kind of tea party.
Oh.
I didn't wear a big hat. No, the point is that in those groups, the reason I stopped going...
You was in the tea party?
After about a year...
Shut your dumb ass up.
Was like all of a sudden, all these dudes who are flying the black and blue flags started showing up, and you went, I'm not going to be part of a militia.
Again,
like Oath Keepers. Oath Keepers is a great example of one of those groups where you're like, yeah, cops for the Constitution, cool. And then all of a sudden now they're like, we need to turn the U.S. military on the blacks. And you're like, how did you get from there to here? Like
it didn't take long.
But you saw in 2010 and 2011, you started to see the seeds of what we see now. Like, I'm surprised by none of this, because in those tea parties, in that
no, because you knew it was coming, but you didn't tell me.
That's what I'm saying. So again, you have groups that court that type of behavior.
Absolutely.
And
let me ask you something.
That's the southern
what
strategy.
What type of sweetener did you use with your tea party?
That's the southern strategy. Is where
Sweet and low.
Nixon made the
sugar.
Shut up.
Would you go to sleep? So Nixon made the conscious choice of
don't encourage her.
Cheap tea ass motherfucker.
Nixon made the conscious choice.
Fuck Nixon. What type of tea was you, Nichols?
Stand up for yourself,
I'm
Chris.
genuinely annoyed right now.
Stand up for yourself, Chris. You're going to keep doing it until you check
Did you know he was in the tea party?
I did.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, 2009.
Nigga, you was in the tea party?
Absolutely.
We wasn't even Black Panthers in 2009.
There were Black Panthers.
We wasn't.
Are you a Black Panther now?
Wakanda forever.
I'm more like a fucking. I'm
kitty
more
cat.
like a black. What that old ass dog name I had pop up?
A German
Shepherd.
You're a black German Shepherd. What?
I didn't know I was hanging out with a Tea Party, the creator of the Tea Party.
Founder of it all.
Founder. I have a founder of the Tea Party friend. Okay, go on. Nixon, you were saying?
I was in a room with 15 other
Tea
people.
Party!
You're such a... Finish your point about Nixon, though.
Yeah, so what people need to understand, as the parties broke down, because in 1960, for instance, Republican and Democrat didn't mean shit, right? Like, it was... So as that broke down, all those Southern segregationists, the Democrats under Johnson, starting with Kennedy and then Johnson, said, we're not interested in you anymore. Thanks for joining the party. And so so Nixon said, I'm going to court all these people for the vote in 68. And then through the Republican Party, through Nixon and Reagan and Ford and some of these other people, they courted that vote. And Ken Mellman, who was the RNC chairman in 2005, actually came out and publicly apologized for this. Said, we're sorry. He went to the NAACP and apologized for it. And then Trump comes along and says, fuck that. Because Pat Buchanan's the one who came up with the Southern strategy. He worked for Nixon. And Donald Trump is a big Buchanan fan. And Buchanan's the one in 92 who started the culture war on the right. We need to fight for anti-abortion. Bob Dole, who ran in 96, was the nominee, was not pro-life. Like, Bob Dole was like, if you want me to be pro-life in this, I'll be pro-life. But he didn't give a shit about abortion. And so Donald Trump is the last gasp of that courting of that wing. And once he dies, there's going to be people like Tom Cotton who try to take advantage of it. But I think in the Republican world, like, there is a pretty healthy portion of the people that got called the establishment by the Tea Party who are just like, fuck this. The Southern strategy is back. And this is I've heard people who worked on presidential campaigns on these podcasts go, I knew what I was doing. I knew I was stoking racial tension. And I knew that it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad, in terms of what we have now. But now I'm like the one just wrote a book, and he's like, I'm sorry for it all. I'm personally responsible for it.
It's too late for that, though.
Yeah.
See, and that's my point, is if you're one of those people who are trying to get your means to an end without giving a fuck about the guy standing next to you, that's the reason why the shit is the way it is. And if you can make $1 off blood, and don't think you can make $1 without blood, then you're part of the problem. If you want to be a conservative, fine, be a conservative. But do you have to be that type of conservative?
The winking and nodding by the Republican Party at these people forever has bit them in the ass. That's what they all talk about it. They all go, all of a sudden we're the party of QAnon. Well, you got to own it. You courted the conspiracy theorists. You courted the racists. You courted all these people.
Because it was beneficial in your time.
Right.
But
I know. Just got to find more people that don't look like you to love. I guess I have to love my Tea Party creator. I had no clue you was part of the Tea Party. See how I feel to come out?
I've said this forever.
He said it on the podcast before.
Yeah.
I thought was drinking.
It was about limited government. It was about lower taxes. It was about, and then all of a sudden it became about, we need a Christian state and we need to force everybody to live the way we want to live. And I went, all right, bye-bye. See you later.
But it's too late then.
Yep.
You quit?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't call the police on them and tell them they were trying to make you live like them?
No, that's not how it works. You don't ever, that's the way politics works. I don't put a gun in your face and demand you live that way. I outsource it to the government.
I'm thinking about kidnapping you to make you vote for Joe Biden.
Well, you just put it on record, so
nobody's gonna go look.
We're gonna have to take one vote away from Joe Biden at the end of this. That was a vote under duress, which is not valid vote.
There's gonna be a lot of votes thrown out, so it's gonna be a long election season.
I hope they both die right before November 2nd.
It'd be really great.
What do you think about the mail-in ballot? I'm thinking I'm gonna mail in this time.
All right, so here's the key. So I've been a part of recounts. It's a team of lawyers on each side standing over a ballot, comparing your signature on your voter registration to the signature on your ballot. And if you don't cross a T, then the other side's going to go. If you're a vote for Biden, they're going to go. The Republicans will go, they didn't cross their T. They didn't intend to vote for Joe Biden. Throw it out. It's fraud. Throw it out. So you need to call your clerk, go check out how you signed your voter registration card if you're in one of these swing states, especially Florida, in one of the contentious counties. See how you signed your name and make sure you signed it as close to that as possible. That's how they determine if it's fraud or not. Because it's pretty obvious if you send in a mail-in ballot and the signatures are totally different. But that's not the game that they play. Those get tossed out. 25% of mail-in ballots get tossed out. The ones
so
that they...
What's the best way to vote? You think you should stand in line and just let the Russians steal the vote?
The best way is to show up at the polls on Election Day. Because, to be honest, if what everybody kind of predicts happening is Republicans are going to turn out on Election Day, and we're going to have about 3 to 5 days where Trump thinks he won, and then the mail-in ballots are going to come in and Biden wins. And so if it's an overwhelming, crushing win in Florida specifically for Biden on election night, it's over. Or if Trump wins Florida that night, it's probably over. So Florida's the one to watch. Again, what can go wrong?
A lot in Florida. Have you not seen them alligator-eating ass people? I don't know, y'all. We just try to make the world better around this motherfucker. You know, we argue. I challenge each and every one of you on both sides, black, white, green, blue. If you have a person at your Thanksgiving dinner in your family that you know that don't speak kindly of people that don't look like you, you should call them out. Whether you call them out yelling, or you call them out speaking nice. But I really think that person should be confronted in front of everybody. I don't give a fuck if the whole family is racist and you're not. Everybody should be called out. Because until you start putting these motherfuckers on blast, they're going to keep on think they can get away with it. I mean, eventually the cat burglar get caught.
You got to hold people accountable for what they are doing. You got if you're the racist person in your family, you need to be held accountable for that.
When I think about my family, and sorry to put our family's business out there, but my sister, I know she's on my side because she's been vocal about it. And I know that my brother is probably on our side but doesn't have the words. He has the feelings, but he doesn't have the words. And the second the other two of us start speaking up, he's going to go, that's it. That's what I've been thinking. And then all of a sudden everything changes because it's 3 instead of 1.
And it should be. I remember your brother went to high school with my son, and he used to tell my son, don't go over that person's house, they're racist.
Yeah.
He literally said that. He literally used to say, and my son still talk about how your brother kept him from a lot of bullshit. When he was in high school, he was a fucking black kid from Atlanta, Georgia, and this little closed-minded ass state.
Yeah. My mom was adamant about that. My mom is the champ on that stuff. Like she did a good job of saying, like, I grew up in a racist household and I'm not going to teach my kids that. And
it has to stop. I mean, on both sides, we can't. What are we hating each other for? I mean,
well, apparently, if you were in the Tea Party, you can go fuck yourself.
You can. I'm glad you quit that motherfucking Tea Party because I'm about to take you to Starbucks, nigga. But
switching from tea to coffee.
Can I have some chai?
He's getting black coffee, straight black.
No, he got green tea. They don't like green tea.
He's a green. What is it, the libertarians green?
There's a lot of libertarians who are pro green of all kinds.
Pro green what?
Pro green weed, pro green
tea,
pro green tea, pro green money.
Oh, you for an abortion?
Pro green
climate?
climate?
You say you wasn't for abortion.
I'm pro life.
Yeah, he's
pro-life.
Yeah.
So if somebody rape you and get you pregnant, you gonna have it?
Yes.
Look, and I have no problem with that. What I'm saying is you can't take away people's options. That's what I'm saying. Whether I want them to keep the baby or not is irrelevant. I don't want to take away their option. That's all I'm saying. And when you do take away people's options, it gets worse. It doesn't get better.
Prohibition fails every time it's tried.
So again, I don't understand why it's supposed to be the greatest country in the world, why we can't solve simple problems with simple solutions.
It's called want to be controlled.
If your Bible tells you this wrong, then you yourself don't do it. But if I don't adhere to that fucking Bible, you have no right to tell me I should have to listen to anything that's in that fucking book. Period. That's why I hate when they say this is a Christian nation and we gotta have fuck all that shit. Why? That's what you believe. So you teach that in your house. But when you leave your house, you need to understand that not everybody operates that way and that your shit doesn't make the world go round.
Pat just nailed it. It's control. It's a need for control, and it's rooted in fear.
White men can no longer own slaves, but they're gonna find a way to control shit.
Well, the need to control is not a racial it just comes in the form of
Republican Party
in this country.
That do not want you to have an abortion. That is all white men, period, who continue to pass down the bullshit of want to be controlled. I told you who use affirmative action. We don't. Man. White women use affirmative action because they tired of baking your American shitty pies.
It's a combination of a bunch of bullshit, basically.
Yeah, it's white men want to be in control. I can tell you what to do. You can't tell me a motherfucking thing. Because, nigga, if you make it illegal, it's always a bitch in a kitchen that will suck something out of you. The same way you can get your hair in the kitchen by a bitch you don't have a license to do your hair, you can get an abortion by a license to a nigga in the alley. It's just stupid. How you gonna tell me what to do with my body?
When you criminalize something that shouldn't be criminal, it should be treated like a medical issue because it is a medical issue. Just like with addiction, people addicted to meth. It's a medical condition. It's a chemical imbalance in that person, and instead of locking them up, you should get them treatment.
If they want to,
if and it works.
It works.
But here in America, the right wing of this country is like, well, we can't have that because of the kids. And I'm like, look, your kids, those are the main motherfuckers doing.
And in Canada, I was in Canada, when they have a drug problem, they don't put you in jail. They put you in rehab. They get you counseling. They get you treatment. Here in America, they lock you up if they kill you. That's only two fucking choices.
There's a great documentary on it called The House I Live In. And it basically just, like, the war on drugs is a for-profit system to warehouse the bottom 10% of the economic ladder because we don't know what to do with people who are poor in the country.
Chris read too fucking much. He always got to come out with this intelligent shit. The equal level at the bottom of what's going on. I'll just say it's a movie out there.
You should also check out Portugal. When they decriminalized heroin, then overdoses dropped to almost zero.
Portugal? Ain't that the movie?
And we're back to the bread and butter, ladies and gentlemen.
Portugal.
Full circle.
It's a country. It's right next to Spain.
Oh, I thought you was talking about like Poltergeist, the movie.
Ghosts don't do meth, Miss Pat. And vampires don't eat potato chips. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't fucking know, dude. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Sorry, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I love talking about this shit because we love each other and we try to bring everybody a little bit closer. And don't forget this Thanksgiving, call out their races in your family. No matter if he black, white, or whatever. Look them in the face and say, Daddy, enough of your bullshit. This is not 1929, nigga. I want you to call your white daddy a nigga. And you telling me he keep on fucking around, you gonna put shit in the pumpkin pie. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of The Pat Down. Make sure you check out my website at misspatcomedy.com for all of my social media, my tour dates, my book. Make sure you spread the word about my podcast. Please rate and review. Please rate and review and share. Thank y'all so much, y'all. I've been Miss Pat.